Okay, we've got 10 minutes to talk about sales and marketing. So before we start, a couple of things there. What we've done here is we've simplified to just get to the principles. So no matter what sort of size your business is, there'll be something to apply. So it's just principles that we're talking about here. Also, ask yourself a better question. Ask yourself the right question when it comes to applying this. What can I apply out of this is a great question, as opposed to, do I already know about all of this? So think about the best question that you can ask yourself when it comes to applying what you're about to hear in 10 minutes. Think about also the 72-hour rule. If you don't do anything in 72 hours after hearing it, the likelihood of it actually starting and getting into momentum grows to almost zero. So just have a think about the 72-hour rule. That's our challenge to you today, is do something in your business with regards to sales and marketing within 72 hours of listening to what you're talking about here, what we're talking about here. So sales and marketing, what do we mean? What we're actually talking about here is new customers coming into your business as well as keeping the existing ones. So that's keeping the ones that you actually want. That's what we mean by sales and marketing. So attracting, converting, and retaining customers. So 3 really big changes have happened in recent years. What are those 3 changes? First big change in recent years is the internet. The second really big thing that's happened in the last recent years are mobile devices. And to give you some idea on this, have a look at this. 2005, Pope Benedict's inauguration. No cell phones in sight. 2013, a few short years later, the place is absolutely ablaze with them. So these are big changes, not small changes. Third big change in the last few years is social media. So if you put those 3 things together, what you end up with is the critical problem associated with sales and marketing at the moment particularly, which is consumers knowing more than ever before. They know prices, they know what other people think of you thanks to social media. They also know your competitors, and they can look at prices, and they can do all of that in the time that it takes to tap out a search. So what we're going to talk about is 2 really simple models here that cuts right through all of this. And once you get it, it'll make the process of how to deal with all of this much easier. Got to say that this is a really big topic, and 10 minutes is way better than no minutes at all. So because there's no point in ignoring the problem just because it's a really big one. What you're going to end up with out of this is you're going to end up with a marketing strategy that's unique to you and fits with the way that you see things. So pretty big promise from a pretty small package of information here. It's also going to be something that you can use offline and online as well in your sales and your marketing. So what we're also going to show you is a marketing setup online that best uses the strategy that will come up with you on. So something that you'll be able to follow without putting it all in the too hard basket. And what we'll also say is the exercise that we're going to do is definitely going to stretch you. So let's get back to the consumers that we're talking about here. What you'll definitely know for sure is that consumers have different priorities. Someone that just needs to get it now is far more interested in service, as opposed to somebody who just really wants the right specifications, and that person is completely different than other people who just want the cheapest. So to summarize, you've got part of your customers here who are really focused around service, others are really focused around quality, and others are really focused around price. So 3 different priorities, and the trouble for many businesses is trying to deal with all of them at the same time. So you try to meet the market with your service levels and meet the market with your quality and also with your price. Now the trouble with this approach is, while you're trying to meet the market in all 3 areas, you're not actually beating the market with one of them. So for example, there's having the absolute best service with fast turnaround times on everything from picking up the phone to delivery times, and friendly people who value relationships. That's one type of beating the market. Or if you want to beat the market in quality, where just no one can touch your specifications or your expertise, or you're just the cheapest price. So beating the market in one of these becomes your point of difference, whereas you only need to meet the market in the other 2. Now, this is a very simple model, but the power of it is in its simplicity. So think about your business and which ones you should beat the market in, which one you should beat the market in. Now, here's something that might help you. You might have a think about what we've talked about in the 10-minute exercise that we did on margins, where the bell curve represents all the transactions in your business ranked according to the margin that you make from them. So blue you make the most on, red you make the least on. So ask yourself, what keeps the blue guys coming back? What are they loyal to from you? not interested so much in the reds and the yellows, only the blues. What keeps them coming back? Why do they choose? So here's a list to consider in terms of what they choose. They might be choosing based on your selection or your accessibility or the speed of turnaround or the service that you have or the relationship that you have with them or the flexibility. That's one sort of bundle of reasons why they're loyal to you. The other set, on the other hand side, is actually in two parts there. There's consistency or expertise or quality or specifications or brand. That bunch of different things that people are loyal to are another set. Then the bottom three on the left-hand side, they're price, volume, and availability. Have a think about what gets them coming back. These are your A-grade customers only. So based on what they are loyal to, you're going to make what they want the focus of your marketing, because that's who you want more of. So what it comes down to is that bunch of things that we talked about over here in service of speed, accessibility, etc., all of those are under those three categories there. They've all fallen into either being a really fantastic trusted service or a quality of product or a value for money price structure. So remember, we're talking about our blue guys here, your A graders. So if we beat the market in one of these, we only have to meet the market in the other two. It doesn't mean we ignore the other two. It just means that we specialize in one of them rather than all three. This is the key point of choosing a marketing strategy. It's a big decision, this one, but you should have an idea of which one of these sticks out for you. So let's assume that you've chosen one. Stick with it, even if you're not entirely resolved with what you've selected. The job we have now is to build a marketing piece for your prospective customers. And the marketing piece we're going to build is called a lead magnet. So what's a lead magnet? Well, it's a marketing piece that contains within it all the need-to-know questions that your target prospect has in their minds just prior to purchase that they want answered when they go looking for information. Now, you'll know the sorts of things that they should be thinking about, and often that thing is not just the cheapest. So what do you put in your marketing piece that you're going to use as your lead magnet? Well, what you're going to use are what we call secret industry insights. So that's the stuff that you know about, but others who are not in the industry don't. Things like, what's false economy when it comes to price? What's the best advice that they should be listening to so they avoid a bad experience? You should have an opinion here. Now, if you're stuck for a fast first step here, simply just make a list of the top 10 questions that you've been asked by your best customers over the years and write down your best answers to them into a document that you call top 10 need-to-know questions that most people forget to ask before they buy a whatever you sell, or a slight variation on this. If you do quotes in your business, write up a quote evaluator so your prospects can tell if they're comparing apples with apples. You get the idea. Just make sure you give special attention to the most important thing for them to evaluate. And what's that? Well, it's the thing that you decided to beat the market on. So what we're going to do in the online setup is put your lead magnet behind what we call an opt-in box, and that's on your website. So you also need an easy to find button for visitors to click that sells why they need your lead magnet. So depending if your business has complex things for a consumer or will not determine whether you need the opt-in box here. Sometimes it's easier just to leave it out. So now you can also advertise with Google, Adwords, or Facebook. Just a quick word on Facebook. Got to say, love it or hate it, 75% of all consumers are on it, and over 50% of them are accessing it from mobile devices. So think about whether your website can or can't be read on a mobile device. Much more to deal with here than we've got time for. But the bottom line is you can do a lot with lead magnets. Hopefully you get the picture there. So you've got your lead magnets with your information in it. You've got an opt-in box that you get their details from, and you've got a button that makes it easy for them to find on your website. So quick takeouts here. First thing is to figure this out. These three priorities are the big ones. Figure this out first. Build a lead magnet out of it that you can use both online and offline. And as we've always said with any of these things, it's a gradual process, but it starts with the first step. So just remember what we said at the start, 72-hour rule. Do something in the next 72 hours to take a step forward, and you'll make a start. Wait 72 hours and the likelihood of it drops to almost zero. Life just gets in the way. So where from here? A couple of options for you. You'll see on the home screen there's a link to a blog builder, which is a really great lead magnet template to get you started on what we talked about earlier. But if you want to make some changes sooner rather than later, and it will be helpful to talk to someone first, then you can also book in for a 10-minute phone chat. So on the call, we'll ask you a few questions about your business. If we can help, we will, and if we can't, we'll certainly be able to point you in the right direction. So if that makes sense to do that, then on the menu bar, you'll see Make Contact. Click there, and then you can book in for that. So the main thing is just to take a step forward today towards getting the business that you're ultimately wanting to be running. So that's 10 minutes on marketing. Thanks for watching.